Good.
What are you doing back here? Getting it ready?
Yep. I think it's all good.
Good.
I think so. I think so. Yeah. This regular meeting of the government finance committee look at I-36. This meeting at the field public notice according to section. With that, we will move on to yeah, I don't really know how to adjust it. I bumped these all the way up. Is that?
You know what, let me take a look. I had this happen before and it took me a little bit, but I figured it out. I'll see what I can do here.
At all. Picture of how all of that lake. Says, I don't know, there was some ones. The market. And I'm off. And then slow there, absolutely necessary. Now I'm thinking about future as a healthy and slow. Having all progress in office, but see us confident really big. Would be a lot of people together. We need to start making that. All this stuff was really going to be considered. So people and role. And I think it means they have to say they want to it's probably I think we can see that. Where you do anything at all, yeah. Somebody said, when I put thing last week, something about the stuff going on, and said, they're built exploding. You're responsible. That's the right. That's the way. And how they work. And even as a part of the I don't know, they know that all of you are please just hold it. Makes sense. That's all we must do.
There's rapid. But there's quite a lot of part of it. So it's needed to have part of it. That is very least a problem for very for school board look at it, one project, and all of these. Well, that's the first thing. The second one is, I the next meeting, but the follow word committee, I did not see any water until we told about it. Here's, I know what an enterprise is, but so this is one side of the village. But so when you come to my report, I went to see. And hey, they need to find out something. But if everybody knows, I know we have a big water, bogs, get water. Why? Don't see here, I don't think. It should be, it's not. Okay. The next round is, community, He probably worked in this county if I did, leaving there. Her comment was, well, I'm good at baseball, which I had brought up numerous. So, just in my mind, but you was truly down. Should have been over the bar. It's not how the ball bounce across the place. That's not how I got said. I was there. That's not how you can't share that. Look at different house, and we can expand to it, and when that is second way of time. Yes. We have to, we have. That handle the farm. Okay. Now, we're going to have this goal for budget for. Getting raised. Now, how many work and fees and stuff. It's not fair, it's not right. You have to currently have to pay very for. A lot of our good on charter, but. But that's a big number. We don't have a big number of fire. We have to go with that. Last two things, I don't have anything that all in. So, what the work facts and things. It was not a bad indication. It's very wrong. It's not bad. But I see. But you just put it all present. All of you, all of you, I don't know. I don't know. I just very. Last point is making all meetings, not standing, all business, getting serving, talking about all sensitive. We will work, we're all in order that. For the bill, but they're not, you know, that is a goal that's absolutely out of the problem. Comments. If we want to consider it, get a topic.
It's not on the meeting.
Motion to start with. Okay, here. If there's no other business, so we want to do business, I'm going to be. The program probably possible that. And the with information that is possible.
I requested this item. I think that we have over and over and it's part of everyone. It's solid, it's nice to be there, there's meetings on the rules, board, so, I'm like, the commissioner, asked, the other thing back. And then, so we need to see that. And please be or so but it's approximately, first of all, range. I I've seen. It's we, yes. And, so you'll see, the top. Colors, and it's an example of what other ingredients into other this type of stuff. And, nutritional, elements of stuff. So, for the most part, do. So, I think I say that I project to this. And session person. Yeah. I am to for meetings. Awesome.
Alright.
Yeah, and yours, so. It will be feeling. Probably. So. Pretty advised.
Responsibility. It's sudden. Operating. So that possibly have to be. Operating. Some of the. It's the last committee, but some of the committees that don't really things as new as part of the. Still preparation all of that. We met another and we said. What, smart communication, it's there for the residents to acknowledge their problem. That was. So the movie is not that. The other one I was. Anyway, my thought is. Probably. Simply right now, that the government.
Yeah.
And that's a possibility. But how will that?
That's good. We had wanted to. Small but short. Yeah.
It's not as much. So the point. That. Every year. It's like it's gonna be a little. That is good.
Now, I've had a time to do this one, all of these things. Like, what? I can't really see some. I already. I said, it's all over. I mean, I want to do stuff. For those people. Probably, it's part of that. There's nobody not before we go about it. That's not the whole. So I have a question. Sandy River. Oh, yeah. I thought it was, no, that one, that has to be. When we read it, we were right at the beginning, and then 3 months more, well, it's taken really good. A person very, you know, person. So then they just have. When we do that, okay, but now. Door preservation, first of all, guys. Now, no. Permeates with my. And really the whole thing. Really, construction orders and everything. So you know, I have written some of it. And this is the. We have very, very, these are my. Set and. Yes. And with the, and normally what it can't do it, you know. Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna bring it back. Yeah, I'll put it in the column.
And even the whole list, very, we don't have any of that. And we just want to. But I think it's time and we were very, well to the mom. But we make that. To work with taking out.
Project one is that maybe the communication. Cost that we to regional level track. We're looking at. And this about.
We love it. Hold on. It was a hard story, but.
Yeah.
also think that it's important to note that we was sort of economy like the camps of them. We said, I went from the programs that they were all, the drug, sometimes we not enough plans to go in work environments and even. About that, we have costs for the environment where that individual might not.
Today. Maybe they're wrong. Outreach. That may be enough. And I don't know. That's pretty nice. I would say we probably move. Very important. Yeah. I want to be say that that's when you come on this, it's not a. Policy. Yeah, plan. I just need to do. Whatever that looks like. But I think we have this problem. And you are. That's small. That's much. I want to find it. So. Probably not. But there is a lot of. Yeah. See that before. We would say that as my it's.
broadcast. Things that are more good are the leads that happen. You're not. So, I think, the police are good about scheduling meetings and that makes it easier to get a set. Yeah, there was only videos, those that are on normal channel. The one thing that should be kind of, that exists, and we can say movies and go forward, and what we do that again. More experience. My thoughts on it.
And, so then there's, there are a couple of things. Either. Or. So. It was. We have no way to have. Trying to talk about it right now.
It as recording.
Yeah, I can take a look
Okay.
for it.
Great.
Just
That
talk,
would be
just
it.
talk slow at the board meeting.
Lots of public comment tonight. So great. All right, so we're back to the motion as amended. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Great, thanks. So we are now on to item B, which is the budget and departmental review. Couple comments before we start the budget. I put a lot on here. I'm not sure we're going to get through it all. If we don't, we will postpone to a special meeting with GGF. Public Works, I believe, was the same way, and that's why we didn't do water and utilities that night. We will have special meetings. We will be reviewing these before it goes to the committee of the whole. So whatever we don't get through tonight and whatever is left, because not everything's on here yet, we will have a special meeting in order to go over that. So with that said, I'll let Matthew start his presentation.
All right, I will kick it off. Feel free to interrupt me and ask questions as we go through. I listed the departments that we will review tonight. Non-departmental through the impact fees, like Trustee Rick Miller said, if we don't get to all of them, we don't get to all of them, and we'll put them on a special GGF meeting, which we're planning on having anyway to review other budgets as well. So don't feel pressed for time to move things along. If there's questions you want to ask, feel free to ask them. We'll start with the non-departmental revenues. The largest of the non-departmental revenues are property taxes. So property taxes get budgeted in the non-departmental revenues as they affect all of the departments within the general fund. Looking at taxes, taxes as it relates to property taxes increased by about $240,000 or $274,448. That is 2.14%, which was the same as the net new construction that the village had for next year's budget.
Should we ask questions as we go?
Sure.
The first question is, you have on that page that you're reading from, it's the second page, but it says on the taxes, the change is 284. Is that
Correct. So there are other taxes that the village collects besides property taxes, one being hotel motel taxes.
okay?
That increased by we're projecting that to increase by about $20,000, and we're having some decreases in agricultural use value penalty and just interest and penalties. So we decreased those. So the net of all taxes is $284,000. But the increase in property taxes specifically is $274,000 or 2.14%, which was the same as the net new construction for this year.
Thank you.
In addition, intergovernmental revenue or a portion of intergovernmental revenue is budgeted here, specifically state shared revenue and utility aid payments. So the state provides money to municipalities for shared revenue and for utility payment. We're currently projecting that state shared revenue will increase by about, I'm sorry, I don't have it in front of me, by about 2% or $14,000 overall. We did just get the state shared revenue estimates today, and it looks like we'll actually have about another $20,000 in shared revenue that the village board will be able to utilize, as they see fit.
Is this shared revenue, the revenue that started in 2024?
A portion of it, yep.
Okay.
Yep. So with Act 12, we got an additional
12,
state shared
right.
revenue. So overall shared revenue from the state increased. Here we have a budget at 2%. It's going to be about $20,000 more than we currently have budgeted. So there'll be some extra funds that the village can decide what to do with.
Record meetings.
That is an option, yep. And that difference is about an additional $20,000.
Okay. And you can use that shared revenue just about every department?
Does it have to be used for specific things?
No.
I think.
No, it can be used for anything. Mhm.
There might be some, but I'll share something with you. Okay, good.
What is the other financial sources, the 30,000?
That was in 2025. The village included purchasing $30,000 for trees as part of the tree program, and we just shifted that from the capital fund to the general fund, just those dollars.
Okay.
If there's any other interfund transfers, you'd also see them there as well.
So you're taking them out? You're taking them out or leaving them?
We're just going to keep it in the capital fund. Last year we shifted the funds from the capital fund to the general fund. It's easier to track, but it all just stays within the general fund. Or within the capital fund, I'm sorry.
Now, if we, intergovernmental, would that include anything that is transferred on the IGA? Is that included in this particular fund?
No, anything related to the IGA is tracked either within the capital fund or within the utilities. nothing related to IDJs in the general fund.
Okay,
But for example, it's not included in this intergovernmental revenue. It's in public safety. But the payments from the school district to the village is in intergovernmental revenue within the public safety budgets, for example. Or any funds we get from the county is in intergovernmental revenue.
oh, from the county as well?
Yes. Yep.
So are we getting any funding based on the shared services now? We don't have the dispatch here. Are we getting any money from?
Not in
this?
2026. That there's no funds in 2026. But the county did support dispatch in 24 and 25.
Okay,
But
so now we're
that
on,
it's fully consolidated. There's nothing budgeted in 2026.
so now we're on our own.
Correct.
Just
Thanks.
a question, I guess it's kind of related. Depending on what happens with dispatch being there and if shared services would decrease in what we get down the road, could there be a time where we'd actually get a bill from the county for dispatch services?
Good question.
I don't believe they have
think so.
the authority to do that. That might be an attorney question though, but I don't anticipate that
I was
being.
just curious.
Yeah. These are kind of some of the high level non-departmental revenues, increase in tax levy of 2.14% or $274,000. At the time of putting this together, the projected increase in shared revenue was $14,000. That's gonna be a little bit closer to $35,000.
And what is the total sum of the shared revenue?
Total sum of shared revenue.
Isn't it about 700?
Yeah, I have it budgeted here at 744,000. It'd be closer to 760,000, somewhere in that range, 65,000.
Thank you.
On the expense side, you'll see large swings in the percentages. So overall, non-departmental is where we budget any performance adjustments across the village. It's also where we budget utilities for some of the village buildings, including Village Hall, Wolf House, I believe is one, some of those smaller buildings, as well as the DPW building. So looking at those expenses, the non-departmental expenses has a performance adjustment of 3.5%, which is tied to the annual performance review. As we discussed at Public Works, for those who were there, that doesn't mean everybody's getting 3.5%. Some might get a little bit more, some might get a little less, but the net is 3.5% across non-union employees.
Did you
Go
do any research? Is this what the standard is in municipalities?
Yes, and I believe I shared it at Public Works, and I should have printed it out for this meeting, and I'll make sure to give that to you folks. It surveys about 30 communities and what they're doing. I've seen as high as 4 plus a merit increase. I've seen as low as 2.5 plus a merit increase. But it's a wide variety, and I'd be happy to share that with you folks.
That'd be great.
On this,
In addition, the village has historically budgeted a dollar amount for vacancy and turnover. That's pretty common across most municipalities. Knowing that the village isn't going to be fully staffed year round, we essentially put in a negative expense to buy down the levy to account for those vacancies in those positions. Knowing that we're not going to be full the full year. So for the 2026 budget, we reduced that vacancy a little bit. So we got a little bit more conservative. So the total turnover and vacancy number is, negative 180 for 2026. In addition, if you look at the operating expenses, you'll see an increase there. That is almost entirely driven by the DPW building being fully operational and just the cost of electricity to fund that, electricity and natural gas to fund that building. The overall cost on an annual basis is north of $100,000. We want to fully account for that in 2026.
under other expenses, this year you had 98,000 with nothing budgeted for this year or next year. Do you know what makes up that 98,000?
Other expenses, let me pull that up real quick.
Your bottom line.
Yep.
Non-departmental.
Yep. So that is mostly where we put, miscellaneous expenses that don't have a good home. In the case for 2025, the agreement for, I don't want to call it reassessment, but the agreement with Walmart Meridian to pay back some of those taxes gets charged there. If there's any issues where somebody overpaid their taxes and we didn't catch it, when we did the reconciliation, that get charged there. It's kind of just a catch-all account for the village to use. The total there is 2 Meridian payments for reassessment that the village, agreed to with Walmart. That total is probably close to, without having it in front of me, I'd say $80,000 to $85,000.
So it's Lion's share.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. And historically, we don't
Is that-
budget anything there. Either that,
Yeah.
those are unaccounted for expenses that just pop up throughout the year.
Not fun. Looks like every other year, so maybe we will be lucky. Oh, can you go back to that screen? What's the salary and wages? You've got 2025, some 32, and then 2026, 109?
Yep. So that's a combination of 2 things. So that salary and wages is where we budget the performance adjustment, so the 3.5%. That's also where we budget the vacancy and turnover. So they kind of offset each other most years, where the vacancy and turnover and the salary adjustments are close to the same. So that's why you see the large swings between 25 and 26. We reduced that vacancy and turnover in 2026.
So do we have any vacancies? I guess that's my question.
We do have some vacancies. There are some vacancies in
Many though.
correct, nowhere near as many as in 24 and 25, which is why we significantly reduced it for 26.
Yeah.
There is some there's some currently in public safety, and then I had one earlier this year for not this year. Yep, one earlier this year for a few months. So they pop up here and there. It's not long-term vacancies. It's mostly if either someone retires and moves on, and we take a month or 3 to fill that position. We would just want to account for that downtime, so we're not overtaxing folks. But to my knowledge, and I don't have a vast knowledge of the DPW department and their staffing. My knowledge is most of it public safety, if I had to guess.
Then the benefits are tied to that salary and wages?
Yes.
As well?
So
Okay.
as part of the vacancy and turnover, I budget a portion in salaries and I budget a portion in benefits, accounting for those negative benefits.
That's pretty hefty. Is that all, insurance, everything, benefits?
Benefits accounts for FICA, WRS, health, dental.
Okay.
And life insurance.
We pay life insurance?
The village pays basic life insurance, and then anything over that is the employee pays for.
Okay. Thank you.
I think one of the other big ones is the utilities.
Yes.
So the building utilities for primarily for DPW, for the DPW building, is that right?
Yes. To operate that building, it's north of $100,000. We're trying to account for as much as that, or I shouldn't say as much as that. A portion of that is getting charged here, and then a portion will also be paid for by water or sewer because they operate out of the building. However, the vast majority is within the general fund.
Mhm. Right. Any other questions on non-departmental?
Comment. I think moving forward, and this once again harkens back to like 2008, when we had some significant economic issues. I think that any, other than public safety, obviously, any vacancies we fill should come before the village board and we really vet them, find out how much they cost, and make that decision on a person-by-person basis, whether it's something we need to do now or it's something we could put off until the following year, or at least 6 months or whatever.
I agree.
Before a vacancy gets filled.
Mhm.
Oh.
All right, if there are no other questions, I'm gonna move on to village
ahead.
board.
It's freezing in here.
It is cold in here. Village board expenses. Not much has changed on the village board expenses for salaries and benefits. Those typically remain the same year over year, unless the village board changes the stipend for trustees and the village president. They have not done so in my time here at the village. On the operating expense side, that is largely a component of really three things. Membership and dues for $11,000, and the large increase you'll see from 26 to 25 is the increase for the cost of legal services within the village, and that is a two-factor increase. One, the rate increased in 2025, so we're fully accounting for that in 2026. In addition, the hours over the last 2 years have been higher than they had been previously, so we also want to account for that in the 2026 budget.
So that legal fees doubled because of what you're thinking we're going to get
Yes.
based on that. Okay.
Is this including both the mid-moraine?
The court? No, the
Yes.
court is budgeted in the police department's budget. This is
Okay.
essentially just
It's just
general,
village board legal.
general legal fees, yep.
Do we get charged? That's ridiculous. Do we get charged for all of the activity that he does for,
Yes.
All of it.
I mean, for the, like, if it just had, well, I guess it would come to the board.
If you
But
ask him,
anything in the village, anything in the village.
Mhm.
If if there's a problem with,
if Attorney Sajak works on an item or a question from us, that's chargeable.
yeah, okay.
I
And the
believe-
rate's doubled.
The rate,
Rate hasn't doubled, but it's increased. Total overall budget is doubled.
Oh,
the rate is increased significantly. I think the partner rate is $245 an hour. And we're budgeting roughly, 45 to 50 hours a month. Which is where we come up with that 120. Not accounting for if he does work for the TIDS, so the TIDS gets charged there. If he does work for utilities, they get charged there.
okay.
If there's special nuance complaints for property, we do have the ability to bill that property owner for his time. And that's something we're also looking at doing if, there are
Sure.
troublesome properties.
So you're saying 45 to 50 hours per month?
Correct.
And are we getting a now detailed invoices?
I would say we've always received detailed invoices down to the 10th of an hour.
Okay.
Mhm.
And are they coming in on time?
Yep, they come in monthly.
Okay, that wasn't the case last year. Okay. So is there something that we should be cognizant of? How can we keep it at an even keel? That's,
Well, I
a big
believe we
budget.
received, for legal, are you talking?
yeah, legal.
I believe we received an email a while ago about going through the village president and
Oh,
the administrator first, so they can determine if it's necessary to go to the lawyer, so that we're not incurring extra legal fees.
yes,
I think that's a good best practice, standard practice.
yes.
Yes.
And what about other expenses?
2,000. I am actually. That is for employee recognition.
Okay,
Historically, we budgeted 2,500. The last couple of years, it's been 1,000 and 1,800. So I bumped that down. I did have a chance to speak with the village president last week, and we were talking about village board professional development and that account.
Okay.
I didn't know if that was something GGF wanted to look at, but in my discussion with the village president, He wanted to encourage folks to use that account and had recommended increasing that either to $1,000 or $2,000 to encourage trustees to go to the Mid-Moraine Municipal Dinner, as well as some of the chamber events. So if the village board did want to make a change to that account, we can. It's currently budgeted at $500. We could increase that to $1,000 or $2,000 just to ensure that there's enough funds. If all the trustees want to go, a chamber event's roughly $25 to $50, and the Mid-Moraine Association dinners somewhere between $30 and $40.
Right.
Um,
If we get multiple people, it doesn't take too much to use it up.
correct.
I would like to see that increased back to where it was.
I think it's always been 500.
Oh, shoot.
It's currently at 500. If GGF did want to make that change, you could make that recommendation, and that would be brought to the village board at the committee of the whole, where they would ultimately vote to change that line.
Has the 500 covered it in the past?
You've got 2025 budget as 2,500. Am I looking at the right thing?
I think you're looking at employee recognition. I'm looking at village board professional development, which is 6 lines higher than that. In 2024, it did cover it. In 2023, it didn't cover it. There has been more interest from trustees to go to the Mid-Moraine Municipal Dinners and some of the chamber events.
Should increase it then?
Then we have to
I'll make
take,
a motion, increase it to $1,000.
You have a second?
I'll second that.
We have a motion to increase $1,000. Any discussion on that? Trustee Kaminsky.
My point is, if in 2023, we didn't have enough money, this year we did. I mean, if we don't use it, it stays in the general fund, correct?
Correct.
So
Yes.
we have nothing
We have
really to
nothing to
lose from
lose,
that.
but let's budget for it. Oh,
we have to take 500 from somewhere else to increase it.
Can you repeat the motion, please?
To increase the, what do you call that fund?
Village board professional development.
From 500 to $1,000.
Thank you. Second of that?
Trustee Miller,
Uh,
Jan Miller.
Jan Miller. Any further discussion?
Do we have to take 500 from somewhere else or no?
My recommendation would just be to increase it by 1,000, and we can use the additional shared revenue to account for it that way.
maybe we can use the shared revenue for the recording as well. What is,
Wait a minute. Gonna vote first. Anything else on that topic? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And remember, when we're making these motions, these are just recommendations. The
Right.
final budget approval comes
later.
much later.
I don't think so. You're the clerk. huh?
It'll be, wait. All right,
What do you think?
I don't think you're the clerk.
Are we staying on the village board? Could you, it's Matthew.
Yep, I'm sorry.
Village board memberships and dues.
Yes,
So what are we talking about here?
that is for the League of Municipalities.
Oh, yeah, the league,
And I believe, I
chamber.
think the chamber actually comes out of the village administrator's budget. I don't have that in front of me. It's for the league, and I believe there's one other thing budgeted there. I can pull that up, but I don't have it this very second.
Okay.
Oh, the clerk reminded me, it is for the Mid-Moraine Municipal Association membership. So it's
League and.
the league and the Mid-Moraine, yes.
How much is the league? That must be the.
League's about 10.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
was gonna
league-
say,
the
it's
league's
gotta-
about 10.
Cause Mid-Moraine is only like, I don't know, a few $100s.
Yeah, I think it's just shy of 1,000. I think it's close to 1,000, but I think it's just shy.
But the league does so much more. I mean, they really do. for municipal government.
Yeah, the league is a great organization. I would strongly recommend the village.
Oh, yeah. I
They,
would
they
take-
played a large role in Act 12 and that
Right,
is shared
right.
revenue. And they do a very good job of keeping all municipalities up to date on anything happening at the state or the federal level. They're a great organization.
They come to Mid-Moraine
Mhm.
and give reports, so it's really good. I agree.
All right, if there's nothing else on village board,
Administrator's office. Is that the next one?
yes, these are changes noted to the village board. Administration expenses. So salary and benefits remain largely unchanged. The salaries budgeted in the administrator's office is for the village administrator, as well as the support services manager. On the operating expenses side, the largest change is the increase in the admin telephone line. That increased from 1,200 to about 7,300. I'll take responsibility for that. I believe there was a miscommunication last year between myself and the support services manager. In 2025, we've been charging that account for Village Hall Wi-Fi. But I did not account for that in the 2025 budget. So I'm accounting for that in the 2026 budget.
So that's Wi-Fi?
It's, yes, it is Spectrum as well as,
Everything. Yeah,
yeah,
okay.
And what line item was that?
admin telephone.
Oh, till.
So that's not one that gets distributed to the departments. It's just
No, this, I
done
mean,
in that.
you can make the
budget.
argument that this should actually budget in IT and, I kind of wish I would have put it there. But it is for Village Hall Wi-Fi, which is roughly, $6,000 a year.
Cheap.
Just
Awesome.
Wi-Fi,
It's cheap.
right?
Yes.
Okay.
So that is the largest increase. That's the total increase on the operating expenses. Some of the other accounts decreased to account for that.
All right, any questions on administrators?
Mm,
Pretty straightforward.
Like I mentioned, administrator has two positions, village administrator and the support services manager.
Right. They get charged for the maintenance and repair of equipment.
Yep.
Is that like printers or something?
It depends. It could be if there's an issue with, if a laptop breaks or if there's some issue with any equipment between those two departments, they'll expense it there. It's a pretty small budget amount. I would say some years we use it, some years we don't. If you look at 24, we only use $450. In 23, we used $1,700. It's hit or miss on if the village administrator breaks anything.
Can't afford things broken this year. Thank you.
All right, looking at information technology, overall that budget decreased by about $16,000. I've been working closely with the folks over at Tyler Munis to kind of fine tune the contract and make sure we're getting full, utilization of all the things we're paying for. So I've been able to work with them to get that down for 2026. So we're projecting a decrease in that contract of total of about $30,000. The general fund receives half that benefit, and then the utilities receive the other half of that benefit. So that's where you get that $16,000 decrease in operating expenses for 2026.
Is the managed service contract with Capital Data, is that part of IT maintenance?
Yes.
And that's one that we're targeting to probably go out to RFP next year.
Yes, I
for-
think
For the 27 budget year.
yes, I believe the plan is to issue an RFP in 2026 for IT services with an effective date beginning in January 1st of 2027.
That's a net decrease of 18,000. Good.
You're calling IT maintenance Tyler Munis, correct?
There are other things that are budgeted there as well. The cost for email is budgeted in there. Some smaller contracts like Adobe, all the Adobe licenses we have are budgeted there. Kind of I'll call it the on-call for capital data is
Yeah.
budgeted there as well. So it's a combination of contracts.
You have capital data in there, okay. Okay, great. Okay, what about this phone thing? We went from 245 to 17,000 to 12,000, 16,000.
Yep. So for IT, that is where we budget our Crescendo contract. So all of which is our voice over IP contract for our phones here at Village Hall. That is budgeted there. That's roughly $17,500, somewhere in that range. And then there are some cell phones that are also budgeted in the IT telephone.
Mhm. Right. Anything else on IT? Otherwise, we'll
And
move
who's
on.
doing the website maintenance? Isn't that us or not? Website maintenance?
I imagine that's Civic Plus.
Yes, the expense there for the website is with Civic Plus,
Right, perfect.
and that is.
Thank you.
Mhm.
All right, anything else with IT? Otherwise, we can move on to the clerk's office.
I will start with the clerk's revenue. So the clerk's office is kind enough to bring in some revenue for the Village of Germantown. That is largely driven by license and permits, which are projecting a slight increase in 2026 of about $5,500. That is for operator's license, liquor licenses.
What about dogs and cats? Oh,
Yeah, so dog and cat licenses do not come through the clerk's office, but examples of revenue in our office is the outdoor entertainment permit. After the first two, junk dealers, peddlers and canvassers and solicitors. The reserve license, which is available at a minimum of 10,000. So we anticipate that maybe next year with growth that some of those reserve licenses will become available and applied for. Alcohol and beverage licenses is one of the bigger ones, food vendor licenses. So those are some of the examples.
okay, thank you.
Operators licenses for bartenders, basically, that's going to the state level, isn't it?
So operators licenses, as effective earlier this year, the state did offer to apply for a state license, which I believe their fee is $200. And the difference between applying jurisdictionally versus at the state level is you can go anywhere in the state with their fee of $200 for their license, which some college students will do, and then they'll, wherever they're away at college, let's say they're in Madison and then they live in Richfield, will come back and then, or in Germantown and work somewhere here at, on their home base and work back in Germantown, go back to school and utilize it for that. Again, that fee is much higher. It is for the year, but then they can use it for the entire state. We did notice a little bit of a drop this year from those being offered, but not too much.
I see. I didn't know that was an option. I thought it was fully by the state. There was no option. So you can still purchase it through the municipality.
Yes, and again, I think the benefit of having it for a state license is if you own your own mobile bar and you're going to be, catering.
If you're tending
You're-
more than
if you're ten-
for two municipalities and bounce around.
Right, like I use that example, if I'm away at school and then come home, or again, if I have a mobile bar and I travel to do that.
So election increased quite,
Yeah.
wait, we're still on revenues. I'm
We,
sorry.
we can move on to expenses. So the clerk's department, election expenses, or the clerk's department expenses are largely driven by increases in expenses for elections in 2026. We increased the estimated cost for election workers in 2026, as well as operating expenses for elections. This is due to the fact that 2026 is a gubernatorial year for governor. And so we're anticipating, large turnouts.
Large turnout, yeah.
So we increase expenses for that.
Is there a possibility that we'll get that offer from Washington County to extend hours and they pay for it? Voting.
So yeah, Washington County has reimbursed any jurisdiction willing to offer extended hours to electors outside of their normal hours. However, it has not been communicated if that's going to be something that's going to be offered again this year. I didn't plan for that in my budget because it's not a guarantee. But again, with us having a 4 election cycle this year as opposed to 2025 too, we have to obviously have more election inspectors for 4 elections. I'm hopeful we will be having a meeting, and that's a question that I think most of us will be posing to gear up for next year to see, but I didn't want to include it in my budget, not knowing.
Smart move.
Questions, comments on clerk's office expenses? All right, moving on.
The village clerk has the village clerk and 2 deputy clerks. I should include a senior deputy clerk and a deputy clerk. There's 3 total FTEs within the clerk's department. Looking at the treasurer's department, not many revenues coming in from the treasurer's department. I apologize for that. The largest revenue that we bring in are interest earnings. So each year we budget, roughly $110,000 in interest earnings for the general fund. We're not anticipating any change for that in 2026. So our revenues remain flat for 2026.
All right, question, are you just being conservative here? Because it looks like 2025 actual is a pretty good number compared to what you're budgeting.
Yeah, the actuals are a little misleading because that also includes unrealized gains. And we don't want to budget for those unrealized gains knowing we're not selling, those
Mhm.
bonds until maturity. But per the auditing rules and GAAP, we have to record those unearned gains. So the 110 is roughly the actual dollars that we
Dollars
receive.
that, okay.
That is on the lighter side of what the village receives. If you do recall, as part of the 2025 budget, the village set up a separate fund for capital projects. And so what we're doing in 2025, and we'll continue to do that in future years, is any interest earnings above what we budgeted for will get allocated to that capital fund. So until I believe that actual does include some unrealized gains. Until we receive more than what we budgeted for, we'll budget it or we'll record it in the general fund. Anything we receive in excess of that will go to that capital fund to fund capital projects.
On the treasurer's report in 2024, you've got 923,000.
Yep, and so that includes funds the village actually received as well as unrealized gains from the bonds we hold.
And why is it so low now?
In 2025,
Yeah,
the 2025,
24.
yeah, the 2025 actuals don't include the total unrealized gains. We typically make that recording after we close the year with our auditors.
oh, well, do you think it'll get anywhere close to the 923?
No, I think it'll be substantially less than that. In 2024, we had some bond proceeds. We had all the funds from the DPW building borrowing, some other large borrowings that we had included.
Okay.
As we draw down those funds, I expect those unrealized gains to diminish. On the department expense side, we took a pretty hard look at salaries, benefits, operating expenses, and other expenses. We worked to decrease as much as we could on the operating side. Given where the finance department has been over the last couple of years as it relates to auditing costs, we felt comfortable decreasing that slightly. Historically, we had budgeted 25,000. For 2026, we're going to budget 24,000. So only $1,000 decrease, but something we thought that we could do there. In addition, the Treasury Department had a rather high maintenance and repair budget. We don't have all that much equipment in the Treasury Department, so we decreased that from 2,750 down to 1,500. So overall, we're working hard to cut our operating costs. The finance department is staffed by myself, the finance director, our senior deputy treasurer, we have an accountant on staff, utility billing clerk, as well as our accounting clerk. Overall, we have 5 FTEs within the finance department.
Not the payroll clerk?
The payroll clerk is technical title is senior deputy treasurer.
Okay. Any questions on treasurer's office? Comments? All right. Assessor's department, we do not have an in-house assessor. The village contracts out for assessment services. So you will see a slight increase on the services side for that contract. Overall, the contract went up $5,000. There'd always been, roughly a $2,000 cushion in that services contract. I essentially removed that. So you'll see only an increase of $3,500 instead of the $5,000. A little bit less on the revenue side on the,
Yeah, looking at some of the historical actuals, we've been coming in slightly under that $15,000. So I just wanted to account for that.
right, any questions on assessor? Great.
I do not have them.
Community development.
All right, I'll start with community development revenues. So when we began the 2026 budget process, we were rather conservative in some of our assumptions on community development revenues, specifically, building permits, electrical permits, some of those revenues that really drive the community development budget, as well as the overall budget for the village of Germantown. As we sat down with the community development director and as he was looking at either projects in 25 or projects on the horizon, we felt comfortable increasing some of those revenues compared to where we had been, certainly in 2025 and really what we were planning for in 2026. So overall, you'll see a rather large increase in community development revenues of roughly, $200,000, just under that. That is largely driven by increases in building permits, as well as electrical permits and some of those types of permits that folks take out.
And then didn't we get a better rate as well? Or,
I believe in 2025, yes, there was a rate adjustment. I don't know if it's quite 50/50, but it's close to 50/50 on some of those
just here?
revenues. And the community development director would be happy to explain.
Thank you.
The 50/50 cost split with Safe Built remains the same as last year.
Oh,
That hasn't changed. I would point out, however, that in accordance with the revised agreement from last year, the fees will automatically adjust to match the CPI-U rate, which at the end of August was approximately 2.9%. Last year, the fees increased 2.7%, and we're on track for a 2.9% increase for 2026.
great. Thank you.
Looking on the expense side for community development, you'll see a rather large increase in services that is directly tied to the increase in the Safe Built contract. So as the community development director just mentioned, that we do a 50/50 split with some of our permits. So as we increase the revenues, we also have to increase the expenses by roughly half of that. So that's why you see a rather large increase on the services side to account for that increase in the Safe Built contract.
And is the services, is that the Safe Built portion?
Yes, yes.
Thank you.
Questions? I think we can move on, Matthew.
The community development has the community development director, the associate planner, and the planning assistant. The total of 3 FTEs within community development department. Ooh, that looks different than the rest of them. Municipal development expenses, this is where the village accounts for some of the miscellaneous municipal development expenses. Specifically, economic development, historically, $10,000 has been budgeted for the village's contribution or for the village's payment to EDWC. Historically, there's also been $8,000 for 4th of July expenditure that the village has contributed, as well as roughly $14,000 for the Historical Society. At the bottom, you'll see the Muni Dev Hotel Motel. That is tourism dollars, and tourism is allowed to spend dollars as a percentage of the hotel motel tax that we bring in.
Trustee Kaminsky.
More of a comment than anything else, but this being 150th anniversary for our country coming up,
250.
250th. Don't you think we need more money in the budget for this? Are we going to actually do something this year, or are we going to be flat like we were this last year?
Oh,
I think we have to do something.
we got to do something.
Do we have a committee or anything on this yet? 4th of July committee?
I believe the village administrator has some information on that. Certainly more than I do.
Yeah, actually, the village president and I have had some conversations with the Chamber of Commerce and some others about doing something extra and making sure that we get an earlier start this year. We got a little bit sidetracked in August with the floods, but and then with me being gone a couple of weeks. But it's one of the things I've done today is put a list of things together I have to catch up on, and getting moving on the 4th of July is one of them. So it's on the radar screen. We have had some conversations. Need to circle back and restart those.
Okay. What happened to Jan, you were on the committee, weren't you, 2 years ago? What happened to that?
That was 3 years ago.
That long already? Wow.
Yeah, it was like the first year. Yeah. Phil and I were.
That just
And then-
fizzled? It didn't work out as
And
a
then
committee?
Phil and his wife took over the second year, and then it kind of,
I resigned.
Yeah.
and
The-
they resigned.
The Celebrate Germantown, it exists as an entity. And that's one of the things we're talking about is, if that's a helpful model going forward, if it's, or if there's other ways of organizing it that we should, but Trustee Miller is correct that, it did assist with the 4th of July celebration for a couple of years. And basically all of the remaining members resigned, and there wasn't anybody there to do anything. So,
Nobody wants to volunteer.
Yeah.
I don't know. We have time because but not as much time as we think, but I just think the $8,000 should be beefed up by at least a couple thousand, wouldn't you say?
I would
I don't know what it's going to take, but if it's been 8,000 over all these years and we've done just the same old thing,
Well, and
we
year to
did-
date, year to date's been
we-
25,000, year to date's over 25,000, just for this year.
if I could add, one of the things we have done the past couple of years is we've added tourism dollars to that.
okay.
So there has been, I want to say 12,000 from tourism last year.
Sounds right.
Yeah, I think the contract we had this past year was about $20,000. And there may be some other things in addition to fireworks. I think,
Yeah.
I went to the fireworks display this year, and I thought it was my perception, and been to a number of them around the area for our size. I thought it was one of the longest and best fireworks displays. But there may be some other things that the community would like some other a band, other types of events. But the question is who's gonna organize that? Who's gonna get all that work done? Who's going to pay for it? We're going to look for corporate donations, tourism dollars, village dollars. So we are working on that.
I didn't mean to sidetrack us.
Nope, that's all right. I have to catch up on it.
Put at 8,000 right now.
Oh. We should increase that. Or get more information. What do you want to do?
In the past, we've augmented it with tourism.
Yeah.
dollars, and I think that's an appropriate usage for tourism because it does bring in tourists. So I would rather apply to the Tourism Commission for that additional
Okay.
than put it in the budget, in the general fund budget.
Well, are we done now?
We're getting close here, yeah.
Impact
we-
fees.
We can either go through the impact fees.
We're at 7.
It should go relatively quick unless there's a lot of questions. Otherwise, we can certainly wait until the next GGF meeting. I believe there's four
23rd.
impact fees. 5 impact fees. I'm okay waiting, or if we want to go through it quick.
I think we should wait. This was one that I added. I'll admit that. Matthew finished it at
Yeah,
municipal development, and I said, well, if we have extra time, let's put some more
I
on.
was locked
So,
in.
yeah, you were right. We'll leave it at 7 o'clock. Real quick, before we adjourn here, is there anything on the reports that we need to discuss? I'm gonna take them all in one.
Nothing stands out. If you look at on the revenue side for the general fund, recreation and community development are tracking very well compared to the 2025 budget, which is encouraging as we close out the year in anticipation of a surplus. Recreation has done a great job increasing their revenues year over year. And the community development department has also done a good job of gathering those fees and permits.
All right, thanks. Do we want to schedule a special meeting now? Terry, your schedule is probably the most important.
Oh, that was for Public Works.
So if we want to do a special meeting for general government and finance, we are looking at September yet, right?
Yep. Last week, maybe.
Week of the 29th.
They have Monday for that week.
Is there anything scheduled? Don, is there anything on the 29th of September?
Well, actually, you're gonna need a special public safety meeting on the 30th. So trustee Ketch, you're already gonna be here if the other members can be available. I was gonna follow up with those members tonight to see their availability. So maybe the 30th would be ideal. That way
Except you're not here.
we can do it back to back.
I'm fine with that.
So the 30th, public safety generally meets at what time?
6 o'clock.
Or we could do a back-to-back for Public Works.
Yeah, why don't we do public?
Public
Works?
Works is the first.
No, we're on the
Special's
23rd.
on the
special
23rd.
Meeting on
We
the
have a special.
23rd at 5:30. We could do 6:30.
Do 5:30 and then have the other one on.
Do 6:30 at, for that.
Just mush it all together.
Is staff available for that?
What day are you referring to?
23rd?
We have a special Public Works at 5:30 that night.
Write that one down.
I'll be here either way, so that works for me.
Okay, great, thanks.
And 3 of us are on it, so.
Yeah, and what that special GGF meeting will be, once I confirm with the departments, it'll be recreation. We'll have library come in as well. We'll go over the impact fees, the special revenue funds, and we'll go over the tax increment districts. So I don't anticipate it being a long meeting, given, impact fees and special revenue funds typically go pretty quick.
You said prior to the Public Works meeting?
Well, we're
So
5:30 at Public Works. I would suggest 6:30 for
After.
GGF.
I
because
see.
GGF will
Okay.
go a little longer.
I have that backwards.
Yeah.
I think public works.
We already-
That's fine by me. Everything good here? So
Yeah,
we'll
public-
plan on our next special general government and finance meeting on the 23rd at 6:30.
So so Special Public Works and Highway Committee does have the room scheduled from 5:30 until 7:00 PM.
Okay. Well, it'll be immediate following.
Immediate.
Yep.
Whatever.
Just so you know, and as far,
6:30 or immediately following. How's that?
Right.
yeah, and we can certainly speak with Brenton at that time. I mean, because that is a standing committee, it's already being recorded for the special, or for the Public Works and Highway.
Both, really. Sounds good.
All right, good. So that is all the agenda items tonight. We'll move the impact fees on to the next meeting and we will adjourn at 7:03 PM.